Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from Bandai Namco in their Dragon Ball Dragon Stars line, we are featuring Majin Buu Super, also affectionately known to fans as Super Buu. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Majin Buu, but this is not necessarily my favorite form of Majin Buu. I want to say my favorite form of Majin Buu is the really squat and fat Majin Buu, the one that currently lives with Mr. Satan. For me, in my head, that's always going to be my favorite Buu. He's one of the most powerful beings in the universe, and he's always just like either napping or eating. Super Buu, on the other hand, I think he's an awesome character. He's not my favorite, but he is awesome. He kind of has this very sinister, maniacal feel about him, as you can see with his portrait right here. This is like, in my head, whenever you mention Super Buu, this is the image I always see. Very arrogant, very evil. He's kind of like, has his head tilted back, and he just looks mad, crazy, and maniacal. It's a great looking figure. I found this at my local FYE at a nearby mall. I did have to pay a slight markup for the figure, as you can see right here. I paid $32 for it. The Dragon Stars figures are kind of, not that they're hard to find in my neck of the woods, but it's always difficult to find like the most recent assortment. Like my local Target and my local Walmart, it's always kind of a mixed bag. You know, they don't always have the newest figures. They don't always have the figures in stock. And when I saw this, I figured I'm going to pull the trigger. It's a character I actually really want. And here we go. Let's get started and check out Super Buu. Alright, so I actually have an older version of this figure that's probably at least 24, 25 years old. It's the equivalent of the Irwin Toys one, but I think the one I have was actually the original Bandai toy from back in the day, or it might even be a knockoff. I got it in the mid or late 90s, way back when, at a local Japanese mall. But we'll show that figure off in a little bit. For now, let's focus on the actual Dragon Star figure. And it's kind of fighting with my camera. He's a little too bright. Let's balance it out a little. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It kind of brings down the pink. So what we have here is Super Buu, a great looking figure. The sculpting is really well done, as you can see with the face. Nice clean sculpting for the teeth. It's really well defined. The paint application on the eyes, I think, are just perfect. The red pupils stand out perfectly. He has those small little vents on the top of his head and on his chest. Those are clearly seen. Some texturing along his abdomen. And, of course, we get the extra accessories. You have multiple hands. You have the thumbs up and a pair of closed fists. And we have Buu up close and personal. And he does not want to focus. I think the white's a little bit, or the pink is coming off a little too strongly on the light I'm using on my camera. And it doesn't want to focus properly. There you go. Yeah, so it's a superb looking figure. Again, Super Buu isn't my favorite iteration of Buu, but nonetheless, it's a nicely well-presented action figure. The articulation looks to be pretty decent. I'm really impressed with how far his head tilts back. That's awesome. A nice articulation on his arms. He has a cut at the waist, which allows for a swivel movement and some tilt. I really love how they designed the legs. It seems like it'd be kind of tricky, since he's wearing baggy pants, but I think they did an alright job. It is kind of unsightly a little, but I could appreciate the effort. And that's really cool too, when he bends. Not that it's a very clean bend, but it seems like this is probably the best it can do. And I think it's pretty fair. It looks alright. I like how the folds kind of go up, and then when you close the knee, they slide back into the leg. Nice articulation for the hips also. With some Dragon Stars figures, I always kind of run into the problem, like as soon as I kick the legs up and out, sometimes they'll pull out of the socket, but here it's nice and snug. And you have articulation at the toes. Yeah, so this is a wonderful figure. If you're a fan of Majin Buu, I definitely think you need this. And I do think in time, we'll probably have the full lineup of all the different iterations of the character in his many forms. And before we close off the video, let me pull out the figure that I was speaking of earlier. So this is the same character. This is also Majin Buu Super, or Super Buu. This figure I bought way back in the mid or late 90s. I want to say it might be a knockoff of the original Bandai figure, but there's a part of me thinks it might be the legit thing. I think it's dated 1980, is that right? 1989? But yeah, this is my original Super Buu figure from back in the day. It was released stateside eventually by Irwin Toys. But this was the Japanese import. And it's a decent figure. I mean, it looks nice. The articulation leaves a lot to be desired. But it's still, I still think it kind of has his arrogance and his sinister persona. He kind of has that diabolical smirk on his face. But it's just kind of neat for me, being a longtime Dragon Ball fan, to see, the figure I grew up on, over 20 years ago. And it's just amazing to see how far action figure engineering has progressed. Here's, 2023 versus 1989. So yeah, for me, it's such a wild thing to see a figure, that's this old, or at least a character this old, but being reinterpreted, almost like 30 years later. It's so wild. But yeah, I mean, either way, excellent character, excellent figures. So let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.